There was a man I once knew who never raised his voice, never got flustered, never explained himself. Doormen, executives, neighbors, everyone treated him with a strange automatic respect. One day I asked him his secret. He smiled and said, "I don't try to earn respect. I simply don't allow disrespect. Today you're going to learn exactly how to do that. 10 laws pulled from the darkest and sharpest minds in the history of philosophy that will teach you how to command respect the moment you walk into a room. 1. The 3 seconds of silence. Machiavelli understood something about power that most people never learn. Too many words dilute authority. The person who explains too much sounds guilty. The person who justifies every action sounds insecure. The person who rushes to fill silence is revealing desperation. The human brain reads silence as confidence. When you don't need to defend yourself, you appear innocent. When you don't need to convince anyone, you appear certain. When you need to prove nothing, you project power without saying a word. Here's the practical version. The next time someone challenges you or attacks you, count 3 seconds before responding. 1, 2, 3. Let the silence sit there and do the work. Watch what happens to the other person. The shifting in their chair, the way they repeat the question, softer the second time. That silence is not passive. It is strategic. You are not avoiding the confrontation. You are controlling it. 2. Stop justifying yourself. There is a principle buried in Nietzsche's thinking that cuts deep here. The one who explains themselves has already accepted that they owe an explanation, and the moment you accept that, you've handed away your power of choice. Think about the last few times you justified yourself. Sorry, I'm late. Traffic was terrible. It's not that I don't want to go, it's just that I have work. Every one of those sentences is really saying the same 3 things. Please don't judge me. Please keep liking me. Please forgive me for not being perfect. Now imagine simply saying, I'll be late, or I won't be able to make it. At first, people feel uncomfortable. They're used to your endless explanations. But something interesting happens. They stop questioning your decisions. Explanation invites debate. A decision, stated plainly, closes the conversation. You owe people clarity. You do not owe them your reasons. 3. The emotional mirror. Schopenhauer wrote about dignity in a way most people misunderstand completely. Dignity, for him, is not something given to you by others. It is something that can only be lost if you hand it over yourself. Picture someone walking into a room where they know they're about to be ambushed, accused publicly, unfairly, in front of people who've already made up their minds. Most people in that position panic. They argue. They beg to be understood. And every desperate reaction confirms the accusation in the room's eyes. But there is another option, the emotional mirror. When someone attacks you, you reflect their energy back without absorbing it. You don't match their anger. You don't defend yourself frantically. You simply watch the aggression the way you'd watch a child having a tantrum, and your stillness exposes exactly how unstable they actually are. The practice is simple. Breathe once, slowly, before responding. Relax your face. Keep your eyes steady, not aggressive. Speak the way you'd explain something obvious to someone who hasn't grown up yet. I understand your point of view. I'll consider that. Phrases like these disarm an attack better than any argument could, because you're not fighting the conflict. You're standing above it. 4. Integrate the shadow. When there's something deeper than technique, though, something that can't be faked. Carl Jung called it shadow integration. The capacity to accept the parts of yourself you'd rather deny, without being ruled by them either. Think of the most quietly respected person you've ever met. Not the loudest one in the room, but the one who never needed to perform. Chances are they weren't hiding their flaws or pretending to be someone they weren't. That honesty with themselves radiated an authority no title or position could manufacture. Most people live in performance. They pretend to be happier than they are, hide their insecurities, deny their flaws, project an image that doesn't match what's underneath. That gap between mask and self creates a kind of static that other people pick up on unconsciously. Something feels off, even if they can't say why. Jung's insight was that once you integrate the parts of yourself you've rejected, your fears, your pettiness, your jealousy, you stop spending energy hiding them. That freed energy becomes presence. Try this. Name 3 things about yourself you hate to admit. Maybe you're controlling. Maybe you're envious. Instead of denying it, just let it be true. Yes, I can be controlling when I'm anxious. So what? That single shift, refusing to fight your own nature, creates an authenticity people respect on instinct because everyone, on some level, is exhausted by masks. 5, radical responsibility. Accepting who you are is only half the equation. The other half goes against almost everything you've been taught about being a victim of your circumstances. How many times have you blamed someone else for the disrespect in your life? My boss doesn't value me. People don't understand me. Nobody gives me a chance. Each one of those sentences is a quiet confession of powerlessness, a surrender of your own agency to someone else's behavior. Sartre's insight here is uncomfortable, but freeing. You are, to an unsettling degree, responsible for how people treat you. Not because you deserve disrespect, but because your reactions and the boundaries you enforce, or fail to enforce, teach people exactly how far they can go. If you tolerate interruption, you'll be interrupted. If you accept every boundary being crossed, they'll keep crossing it. This isn't guilt. Guilt paralyzes. This is responsibility, and responsibility empowers. The question shifts from, why don't people respect me, to what am I doing that allows this? That question stings the first time you ask it. But it's the same question that hands you back control. 6. The inner observer. Marcus Aurelius ran the most powerful empire on earth and almost never lost his composure in public. Seneca stayed calm while an emperor threatened his life. Stoic leaders commanded respect even in extreme situations. Their secret wasn't suppression. It was observation. Most people confuse control with repression, swallowing anger, forcing a smile, until it all explodes later. That isn't control. That's a delayed detonation. Real Stoic control works differently. You feel the emotion completely, but you are not owned by it. You become the observer of your own reaction. Marcus Aurelius practiced exactly this. When anger rose, he wouldn't try to erase it. He'd simply note it. Interesting. I'm angry right now. My face is warm. My chest is tight. That small act of observation creates distance between you and the emotion. You are not the anger. You are having the anger. That distance, small as it sounds, is where your freedom actually lives. It's the space where you choose your response instead of simply reacting to it. 7. The right moment. Even self-control is wasted without the right timing. Sun Tzu understood that the moment of a decision matters more than its force. The right move at the wrong time becomes a mistake. A small, simple move at the perfect moment becomes decisive. Most people fail at timing in one of 2 ways. They talk too much when they should be observing, correcting irrelevant details, interrupting to make obvious points, and end up looking anxious and insecure. or they stay silent when they should act, waiting for a perfect moment that never comes, and end up looking irrelevant. Sun Tzu's advice, paraphrased for a modern room: know the dynamic before you position yourself in it. Who are the allies here? Who are the opponents? What's the emotional temperature? Choose your battles. Not every small comment deserves correction. And act when others hesitate, because a moment of collective indecision is exactly where quiet leadership naturally steps in. 8. Lead like water. The best leaders rarely try to lead, a paradox Lao Tzu described with more precision than most modern leadership books manage. The harder you force authority, the faster it slips through your hands. People who try to lead make noise. They interrupt to share unsolicited opinions. They correct small details to prove they know something. Natural leaders do the opposite. They ask questions instead of giving orders. They offer suggestions instead of imposing solutions. They create space for others to shine instead of monopolizing the room. Here's the paradox. The less you try to control a room, the more people willingly follow you. Because you don't threaten anyone's ego, you simply make cooperation feel natural. Lao Tzu's metaphor was water. It finds the most efficient path, moves around obstacles instead of forcing through them, and never stops moving forward. Led like that, and people follow because they want to, not because they have to. 9. Disagree like an equal. There's a reason certain people earn more respect by disagreeing openly than others earn by always agreeing. Nietzsche's instinct here was sharp. Constant agreement reads as weakness, or worse, as dishonesty. When you always say yes, people quietly stop trusting your opinions altogether. But there's a difference between strategic disagreement and a childish tantrum. Strategic disagreement serves the truth. I disagree with this approach because I see 3 specific risks. That's a contribution. A tantrum just serves the ego. This is wrong. It'll never work. That's just noise. The structure for respectful disagreement is simple. Acknowledge the partial merit of the idea first. State your specific concern clearly. Then offer a constructive alternative. My only hesitation is the timeline. What if we split this into 2 phases? That structure lets you disagree without sounding destructive. You keep your intellectual honesty without manufacturing enemies. People start to value your opinion specifically because they know you won't lie just to keep the peace. 10. Respect is not requested. It's radiated. 9 techniques, but underneath every one of them is the same law, and it's worth naming directly. Respect was never something you can ask for. The moment you ask for it, you've already lost it. It has to be radiated. Through the silence you don't rush to fill, the explanation you don't owe anyone, the composure you don't fake, the responsibility you finally stop outsourcing. Every philosopher we've walked through tonight, Machiavelli, Nietzsche, Schopenhauer, Jung, Sartre, the Stoics, Sun Tzu, Lao Tzu, arrived at some version of the same conclusion from a completely different direction. Respect is never given to the person performing strength. It's given, almost against people's will, to the person who no longer needs it confirmed. If one of these 10 laws is the one you needed to hear tonight, leave a comment below with its number. Sometimes the first act of self-respect is admitting which one you've been missing. We are a sanctuary for those who think deeply. Until next time.